Really? Hmm. That's weird. Maybe I shared the tab wrong. Maybe I shared the tab wrong. Oh, no, it says also shared tab audio. That's so odd. Uh, I'm sorry. Let's call it technical difficulty. Did that fix it? Uh, Look at these technical difficulties. If you guys aren't hearing, well, you hear me, but have you heard the tab? With the tab heard, everything is very small for me, right? What? What is going? It's oh here. You guys have this for a second. I gotta. Apparently, there's things. There's things right now. All right, welcome. I'm doing the best I can. Welcome. This is the prayer potency. Bring your own Godmask stream, and I guess it's Saturday today. Here's the casino card for the show. Right up. That's not true. That's not true. The casino deck is lost. So many cards. We don't have it, as it's not right to pull from it anymore. So here's the blue church card of the show, the Four of Diamonds. Welcome, everybody. Let's one thing we do here is the saving throws versus mind control, and those are coming up very soon, very soon. But first,
Bing, bing, boom, boom, boom.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, time goes so much faster now. Welcome. Here on the streams, we do a savings throw versus mind control, which you're swimming in like fish swim in water, even if you just count the advertising. And to get your savings throw, I have these dice to give to you, but first you must participate by choosing. If you do not choose, you get no saves. You're just subject to full damage. But if you want to save, you get to choose between survival, social, wisdom, or heart as the basis for your savings. So that's what protects you from the mind control. Pick which one you choose. If it's over 10, you take half damage. If it's under 10, you take full damage. But remember, everybody, we want what's best for you. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Woo! Look at that. You got disciples coming in on the self-survival die. Unbelievably recovering from what I believe was a nat 1 last time. The socialists get a nat 20, which means, I don't know, what I say, +3 on the next one because you got the 20 on this one. Lovers of wisdom, you're going to need a +3 because that's a 7 for you. Hard folks, you got 4 chambers times 4 chambers for a 16. 16, you're going to be fine. Indigo kids, number 9. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Whoo! There we go. We got some savings. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the prayer potency bring your own Godmask stream. As you can see, there's a man in a white tuxedo with a white hat. And for those of you who are ancient of days, such as myself, you'll recognize that as an outfit worn by one character in the history of television that I'm aware of, one boss hog from the Dukes of Hazzard. Are you familiar? And so it came to pass. There was a wonderful man who I've been told is called Peter Boghossian. But if you look very carefully at his name, it's Peter Boghossian, and it's as if Boss Hog had his leathers all flatulated leathers. And so, and such with such a name, I can't but help but wish that that man would dress up in a white tuxedo, much as featured on our branding today, thanks to the power of the Night Cafe. Aye. And if he did, he'd look a little similar like that. And the reason that is the image is because our one and only Chad crashed his basically he did a chat roulette when a guest didn't arrive on his show, and Chad decided to crash it, and I would like to share that awkward moment with you in case you missed it on his Friday morning nameless channel, which we all know and love. And that tab is right here. Right here is that tab. Hopefully you can hear it. Hopefully. Is that full screen now? Maybe. And then we do this.
Hey, Chad. How's it going, man?
Hi, Chad.
Oh, you're muted. Chad's muted.
My bad.
There you
Sorry
go. All
about
good.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
to
it's all
see you
good.
guys. Thank you guys
Amen.
for doing this. This is really cool. So I wanted to just compliment you on I really enjoyed the Paul Vanderklay episode that you did. And I've
Wait a
been
minute. Is this some video edit, Chad? Did you appear as yourself and then like copy paste in your mask picture so we don't get to see his actual reaction to you showing up in the mask because you just look like a normal person right there? Is that what you did, you dirty son of a...
following Paul for at least a few years now, and like you asked why there wasn't a lot of traction on that video, and
Yeah.
I was
Why do you
thinking
think?
it's a lack of red meat. I think that has a lot to do with it. Like the guy isn't that confrontational, so it's like you know he's kind of winsome, as they say. But that's why I think there are a lot of us who have been following him. Not a lot. I think he only has like 27,000 subscribers or something. But he does a type of modeling a little different than what you're doing, but the same, I think, a similar attitude of like trying to actually have like good conversations and meaningful conversations, I was wondering if you're familiar with his estuary work at all, and if you like, I think it would be cool if you guys, if you had a conversation with him where he does these things, he calls them like randos conversations, where he basically just he gets your story, right? He doesn't get into all the I don't know how to put it. I'm kind of rambling because I wanted to bring this up because I think he's doing meaningful work like you're doing, but he doesn't get the kind of eyes that you get. So it's a little fanboyish
Yeah.
on my behalf.
So
But
I think Paul's fantastic. It's the first time I've ever met him in real life. We were supposed to do an event in Oregon when I lived in Oregon with at a church actually, and then the pandemic canceled the event. But we met at ARC and we did it. I thought he was an honest interlocutor. I thought he was very sincere. I loved that conversation, and I was super disappointed that that did not get more eyeballs. I think it was a really good example, if I may. I hope this doesn't sound too self-aggrandizing, but of two people who were very sincere and very honest and spoke openly and were forthright with each other about some pretty significant differences that they had. And I thought it was, I thought he's a very kind soul, and I really enjoyed that conversation. Cool. All right. Thanks, Chad. We appreciate it. We're moving on. Right on, man.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for coming on and promoting some other guy. Way to crash my channel, Chad. Good job. That's what I think he felt in that particular moment. But it was a fabulous conversation. So if you find yourself wandering over to Peter Boghossian's channel, you can not only find apparently Chad without a mask, but also this fabulous discussion, of which I will share a small portion now. A small portion now.
A mistake the other way, well, that doesn't really make a difference.
Since the split. Why?
It exposed people for who they really were. It made me realize it made me I've lost a lot of friends, and 100% of the friends I've lost, it's been about something about social justice. The vast majority of those, I've been very outspoken. I do not think someone who should be allowed to transition until their 18th birthday. And that is the single issue that people are outraged at me about.
Really?
Yeah. I've been told I'm on the wrong side of history. I've been told but getting back to your question, yeah, it's been, my life is definitely better. There are some incredibly nasty, angry, toxic people that I've been able to disentangle myself with entirely. So there's no question that my life has gotten better.
So, hey, thanks, Ups. We have a Ko-fi bot. If you donate to the non-whitey thing pinned to the top, you can see the Ko-fi chat bot will engage. And look, we have Adrian, what, hard to say last name, from Romania, reminding everybody that we're global. This is a global project we're doing. Hoy vey.
There is no agency. We want what's best.
All right, and now
we all know that there is no agency any living gent can see doing what is right for me. Just lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
Goodness and truth can drive us away when we don't want to be good and we don't like the truth. But beauty is the one that we can't look away from.
Something is happening that there needs to be a movement in art in response to what's happening. And that seems inevitable because the trajectory of art since the 19th century, the trajectory of art since then has been all in one direction. All moving away from beauty and towards that which is coarse, hugely simplified,
when we look at truth first, in order to get us to what's good, we completely exclude beauty from the picture. And as humans, we experience beauty, and I'm sure there's a hope that life becomes beautiful. But it's not guaranteed. And it's certainly not something that ever enters the conversation as being a fundamental part of a meaningful life. Treat it like a garnish or frosting. It's nice, but not necessary. And in fact, it might even be a little bit dangerous or distracting. And if we focus too much on beauty, we will lose sight of the truth and eventually forget what is good. And on the surface, that criticism is somewhat reasonable, or at least to a modern mind. The more that I look at beauty, the more I'm convinced of how powerful of an influencer is, shaping our beliefs and being more drastically than we can fully fathom. Beauty is a language that we all speak and it's so deeply ingrained in us. Beauty is just such a powerful tool that it pulls us in and grabs us in a way that nothing else does. And I think that's one of the reasons why for myself, but in a bigger culture, movies have been such a powerful influencer in our lives. They utilize all these different layers of beauty, whether it's visually or audibly. They're working on all of our senses, so it's very powerful. And I think there's this level of fear comes with that, because there's this worry that bad ideas will get packaged in beautiful wrapping and become so powerful that it deters us from the things that are true and good. But to me, when I hear this criticism, what I hear being evoked is the acknowledgement of the fear that the power this holds could be corrupted. But that in no way tells me that this power is something I shouldn't consider or pursue. It doesn't really give us any sense of why we should bar that from consideration in general. In fact, shouldn't it drive us to be more interested in beauty and understanding the ultimate form of that, the responsibility we have in participating with it? I think what this has ultimately sparked in me is a realization that beauty has been so belittled in our society, at least by our words, that we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I think Rascal is doing fabulous work, and until she's got over 50 subscribers, I'm probably just going to keep running pieces of it.
The list? Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room? I want to cast Magic Missile.
The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile. Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here. I'm attacking the darkness.
Now, also from our friends in the corner, Saint Sartori. has recently released something that I kind of want to go into and talk about a little bit. It's well, let's I'll just run it first, and then we'll talk about it. All right.
So yeah, my father, who became a missionary practicing, they call themselves men of power. They don't say.
See, there seems to be some kind of anyway. Here it is.
Warlocks or anything like that, but they normally take one disciple for their lives, and sometimes a woman's involved, and they are extremely powerful in and his team would just beat the dog out of the other because he would read the opposing quarterback's mind and it was going and try nails into his and pull it out and it just heal up immediately. And he would go in people's dreams all the time and just all that kind of stuff. And when the Jesus movement happened, which I was in one of the earlier portions of, and I went to my house, after I'd had this, actually become a serious Christian out of that. It set up tremendous conflict in my house, not so much between my dad and me, but the spiritual just arcs of lightning and stuff. And my dad eventually repented and confessed his sin before the church because he was a deacon. That was another thing he would do.
So this is in the United States.
Yeah.
What state?
Texas. This is in San
This is
Antonio.
Texas. Yeah. So in terms of this particular phenomenon, men of power, so this is a thing that's still going on.
Yeah, I saw one was in a restaurant here in Houston, and this guy walked in and he had his disciple and a woman with him and so forth. Man, he walked in and they looked dead over at me because somehow they could tell that I knew what they were. But man, they just emanate massive amounts of power, and they're really scary. I mean, they're scary people.
So when you say you were able to recognize them, you're just talking about this and not some kind of way of dressing or anything.
No, they looked very conservative. Actually, the guy himself, the man of power himself, was dressed in a 3-piece suit and all this kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, I think I had my back to him when they walked in, but the presence of the darkness was so forceful that I turned around, and looked at him. And
well, this is something I can relate to. I mean, there was a profound sense that there were more creatures present than were physically in the room, and but for people who've not had that, I don't know if it's possible to really communicate what that's like.
That's exactly right. I mean, the first thing is you have to be open to the possibility that there might be such thing.
See, this is of concern for a multitude of reasons. First is we're among those who are trying to re-enchant the world. And this rips away the mustard seed blanket of none of this stuff is real. And when that happens, there's, you come at it and you learn that there's the good side and the dark side. And the thing about the dark side is this stuff doesn't not work. And if you're coming in from a materialist standpoint and you start to get re-enchanted and understand that these things exist and have potential to work, your mustard seed blanket is gone. But as they highlight here,
if you don't even believe that that's possible, then even if you, unless you have some sort of overwhelming experience, you just dismiss it out of hand, which is understandable. I mean, you know, we spend our whole lives being acculturated into ignoring that stuff, especially in the church, which is really weird. But you know, that the thing is, not everybody has, you know, is spiritually in witchcraft and stuff, you know, and but everybody, it's like not everybody's not an athlete either. But you can train yourself to be a better athlete, you know, than you are. And the same thing's true, I think, for spiritual phenomena. If you can support that in Scripture, then you should be open to the experience of that, you know. And so
yeah, related to this, so I think a person who might be slow to come along on
and
this.
I wanted because as you may or may not know, my initial foray into the corner was as part of trying to help the Sorting Myself Out channel, which was founded by a fella who decided to become the poster boy for Jordan B. Peterson, and there was a time when it was admitted that the way he got his conversation with Jordan was through the use of sigil magic, and just there's I tried. There was once upon a time, he ended up getting this conversation with Jordan Peterson, and in that conversation, he was being the poster child for the person who took the maps of meaning and applied it to his life, and so in this conversation with Jordan, he talked about his porn addiction, and when he later got a girlfriend, he had to pull it off his channel. And so but at that time it was still on the Jordan Peterson channel, and I went to go look that up and I could not find it. So apparently it's now gone from there as well. But I did find some interesting old things that while I was poking around looking for it, and so now here's some of that.
If you pay attention to the things that shine forth, because what you're seeing is the reality instead of the map, you're gaining access to the real information that's in the world. It's not prepackaged information, because that can be false. It's the real information flowing out from the ground of being, and if you pay attention to that, it will help you move towards the goals that you've already established for yourself as a good citizen, that are part of the inbuilt value structure that you've adopted. But at the same time, it will do something else. It will lead you to transform the nature of those goals, because as you pursue the thing that guides your interest, and more information is revealed, then by absorbing that information, which is learning essentially, you build yourself into a different person, a stronger and more informed person, and a more intact person, a person with more integrity and with more strength and with more direction. And at the same time, you differentiate your map, and so you're living more and more in the approach to your specific goal, even if it's a culturally conditioned goal. The thing that you do today transforms you and it's your goal.
And now, what do we all need?
ago, I had the honor of talking with Ayaan Hirsi Ali, who I regard as a genuine modern day heroine and a role model for all individuals who desire to speak and embody the truth. I'll tell you a little bit about her before the discussion starts. Ali, born in 1969, is a Somali Dutch American author and scholar. She's received international attention as a critic of Islam and an advocate for the rights and self determination of Muslim women, opposing honor violence, arranged marriage, from which she escaped by emigrating from Somalia, and female genital mutilation, to which she was subject as a child. She's a fellow at Stanford's Hoover Institution and Harvard's Kennedy School, a visiting scholar at the American Enterprise Institute in Washington, D.C., and a member of the Council on Foreign Relations.
Oh, the CFC. See, as I was poking around, since AHA has made such a splash recently, I found it sort of fascinating that there was this ancient conversation from 6 years ago. And why don't we poke around and see what was at the 33rd minute?
Proof of that, perhaps, in what happened with Libya. But so the idea would be there's nothing sufficiently dangerous about the Saudis to justify us destabilizing their regime, especially when we're particularly dependent on their oil. And then underneath that would be an underestimation of the danger of ideas. And also, especially when ideas are combined with money, it's something like that. So, because the Saudis, in some sense, I think, are fighting what you might regard as a stealth war against the West. And they're doing it by convincing upcoming generations of the rightness of their particular viewpoint. And so they're in it for the long haul in some sense. And I think we're radically underestimating the danger of that.
They're waging an ideological war, and we're not.
Yeah,
they're waging an ideological war, we're not. I mean, you have to think of when the Soviet Union was around, if we hadn't done anything in response, if we had only viewed that in economic terms or in military terms. And that is our...
That's totally his echo and not mine, but that they are that's a fascinating clip, because as we discover and things are getting so bad that we notice they're bad, we don't necessarily recognize that people have decades long plans that they've been working on, but
It appears the assassins have failed.
And while I was poking around, I also actually found the video in which Jordan admits the source of where I say he's already got a church, folks.
Publicity like this, a front page story for a number of months. Recently, he returned the favor with me, but he proposed at one point that I fly down to Los Angeles and act as the officiant at his marriage. And I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. I never expected that to happen. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I better get ordained, because that's all the logical thing to do. And I thought, well, how do you get ordained on short notice? And obviously the answer. So I went online and I signed up. I could name my church. So I did. I have this church. I'm the only member. It's called the Church of the Spirit of Saint Joachim of Flores, which isn't necessarily the name that you would expect. I liked Saint Joachim from what I knew of him, because he had this idea that there were three epochs. There would be three epochs in Western civilization, and one would be the epoch of the Father, and that's roughly the Old Testament epoch, Old Testament morality that has to do with following rules. And then there was the epoch of the Son, and that was, of course, the epoch, the Christian epoch of the last 2,000 years. And he believed that what would come after that would be the epoch of the Holy Ghost. And the Holy Ghost is this weird spirit thing that hypothetically Christ left behind, that could inhabit people and guide them on their path. And it seems to me that that's very much in keeping with the Orthodox idea that the proper moral pathway for each individual to take is to attempt to bear the burden of the perfect individual, right? To become Christ, so to speak, in an attempt to transcend mortality and finitude and to unite with God. And I thought, well, that was kind of a cool idea. So I thought, well, I might as well have that as a church. And then I thought, who should I be in this church? And I thought, well, Pope was probably.
So how about that, guys? The epic of the Holy Spirit, according to Jordan Peterson's church. Do you think that's where we're going? Yes. 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 Oh, Clint requests another magic missile. Here, you can have the short one, Clint.
I'm attacking the darkness.
And that's what I had. That's what I had for today's show. I'm trying to get back into it and attacking the darkness as best as we can. So I don't know exactly what the full armor of God is. I can't remember it, but as we move out of the disenchantment and our mustard seed blanket of materialism and disbelief, let's remember, Embody, that I don't know.
I saw you toss the kites on high above the birds about the sky, and all around I heard you pass like lady skirts across the grass. Oh, wind a blowing all day long. Oh, wind that sings so loud a song. I saw the different things you did, but always you yourself you hid. I felt you push, I heard you call, I could not see yourself at all. Oh, wind a blowing all day long. Oh, wind that sings so loud a song. And you that are so strong and cold of blood, where are you, young or old? Are you a beast, a field and tree, or just a stronger child than me? Oh, wind a blowing all day long. Oh, wind that sings so loud a song.
This really long comment from Josh here is an inquiring about the branding I have as Windbag. I can tell you that it's from Upcycle Club, and he would probably be able to tell you the source of that. And I am not familiar of whether or not that particular song was that Sleep Token. That was a what you call it, a Chad fetish. That I'm not. You'd have to clarify with him, Pastor Paul.
Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal, so say we all.
Now, as you know, when I do a thumbnail such as the prayer potency, I've explained the outfit, but and this also bring your own Godmask title. These are I try to deliver on both the title and the thumbnail, and I think I'll start with the bring your own Godmask part. If you're not aware, Godmask is part of the first release from the maybe upcoming Paintball for Jesus book, which I've written and released on my Substack, where there as part of the Paintball for Jesus movement, the lucky lad that gets pegged by all the paintballs in sacrifice also goes into an initiation into manhood ritual, which, unless you're part of the Masons or some other religious order, we don't really do as humans these days in the West. There isn't much of an initiation ritual into manhood, and I've decided, and as such, I invented one for the purposes of the story, in which the lad must face an adult who pulls out his desire to defend the sacred at which point he's awarded with the Godmask, which is a wooden mask that has four phrases embroidered and stitched, engraved on the inside, and those are the following phrases: "This is a PvP server. The beast takes what it wants and gets what it gets. Man protects the sacred, and you're part of it now." And for me, the purpose of the Godmask is sort of a little defense against the dark arts. It's what it's the things that I believe that if I had been it had been drilled into my head as I aged into manhood, I would have not been so foolishly held. It basically would be like a +6 to future savings throws, because it's my understanding of how the world works. And the reason I called it "Bring Your Own Godmask" is because I wanted to assign everybody a little bit of homework with regards to, if you were in charge of crafting an initiation ritual into manhood, what would you give a heads up to? What phrases, what distillation of information would you impart to a human aging into manhood? And for me, the acknowledgement that this is a PvP server, that now, if you're at all familiar with online video gaming and the massive multiplayers, the big difference between a PvP server and a different sort of server, a PvE, they call it player versus environment server, is that you can be a level 1 guy just tolling around, and the game allows like a level 50 person to come and just smite you whenever they want, because it's not fair. It's and that seems to be the way this works. It's ignorance is no defense. That you're foolish enough to assume that everybody wants what's best for you means that you might be taken advantage of by higher level players, and that little heads up is something I think can save a lot of people. Just like, you might not realize that credit really means we'll let you go into debt to us because we're giving you credit, and that's the PvP nature of the server. It's completely legit for people to feed on you, and the way people feed on you is if you don't control your own bestial nature. For example, all of the lifeblood and stuff that I acquire, because I don't have control over my beast. I continue to feed those who provide things that feed my beast with my own lifeblood, and that's the nature of the beast. That we are whatever we are inside these bestial things. And the difference between a beast and a man is that the beast it doesn't have the forebrain to program suppressions of their bestial nature. So if there's something it wants, it'll take it, and it gets what it gets. Like the fish sees it might even recognize that there's a hook in the worm that it's chasing, but still it will go and bite the hook, because it can't say, "Oh, there's a hook there, I shouldn't bite that," because it's just a beast. And as human men's, we can say, whoa, there's a hook in there, and like tamp down the impulses of the beast and not get what we get, but avoid those things. And so the homework I have for you folks is, what would you say to the youths as initiation into manhood? Because we don't have that anymore, and I think that's a real problem. And so that's why the title of that was "Bring Your Own God Mask." And soon we'll get to the prayer potency, but I need more branding now.
No fur here. Sharks don't have fur.
This means that the individual's psyche is far from being safely synthesized. On the contrary, it threatens to fragment only too easily under the onslaught of unchecked emotions. While this situation is familiar to us from the studies of anthropologists, it is not so irrelevant to our own advanced civilization as it might seem. We, too, can become dissociated and lose our identity. We can be possessed and altered by moods or become unreasonable and unable to recall important facts about ourselves or others, so that people ask, "What the devil has gotten into you?" We talk about being able to control ourselves, but self-control is a rare and remarkable virtue. Good old Benjamin Franklin asks, is the man and the beast discrete and separate entities? No. The man is what we grow into from our bestial 4-year-old nature. And Pastor Paul Van de Clay asks, is it irreverent when we hive mind while Grimm is professing? No, because the main function I perform in creating these online spaces for us to gather is to help, is for you, and for me, and for everyone in the hive mind to feel virtually not alone. You're more than welcome to talk amongst yourself, and I encourage it. I encourage you guys to speak amongst yourselves. If it gets insane, I don't manage to catch up on the hive mind, and that's quite that happens. Darksider says, have you tried DMT? Well, hello, Darksider. And almost. What happened was it offered, I did try it, but the setting was very, very wrong. And so when it offered to take me on a ride, I said, don't, please, don't, and passed out of it. Bunch of reformed guys talking demons. What? Oh, whoa.
Slime! What? It's a river of slime!
Like love. Love is worth saving.
I don't know love. Now encompasses everything. Does it not?
It's all there is.
It's all there is.
You choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart.
See, you've given yourself up. But this is the most powerful thing that can be done. Surrender. See, and love is an act of surrender to another person. Total abandonment. I give myself to you. Take me, do anything you like with me. See? So, and that's quite mad. So we come to the strange conclusion that in madness lies sanity.
And now, finally, I get to the prayer potency bit. The recent events have caused me to return to verbal prayers. There's been an evolution of my prayer history. I used to do it, and then at one point I decided that, well, it's just your will be done, man. I don't even know. And so I quit. And then there was like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with the praying, so I'll just like go feel what's in my heart and like broadcast that and let that be my prayer. But recently the events have driven me back to asking for things and requesting things. And part of that process, I started with the Lord's Prayer, and that's a great one. But lead us not into temptation, because we know how that ends. But also one thing that happened was the initial prayer I was invoked into, even though my family was particularly a-religious, was the now I lay me down to sleep prayer. And that goes, now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord, and all that. And then after you do that part, it's traditional, or as I was taught, that you ask for protection for those you love. And as I reinitiated that practice, it it reminded me, or I noticed that it was basically you reminding yourself of the people you care about enough to include in that, hey, God, watch out for these guys part. And that I've found to be particularly potent. Even like whether or not the prayers work, or there is any actual protection, just the practice of remembering, of bringing to your own mind those that you care enough about to include in that, it does. I don't know. For me, I suppose it refocuses me on what has proven to be important over it's the care. It reminds you of the care you have, and if nothing else, perhaps that is potent. Remember it.
This agency. We want
And there, having covered both the title, the thumbnail, and that stuff I put at the front, we've completed this. Hey, he's trying to stream like he used to again. Stream. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and let's take the train on out. Have a wonderful weekend, and oh, don't forget your homework. Don't forget your homework. Are you, Frank? Go ahead and leave a comment on this when you get +5 to the next 5s, and I'll pull it out of held for review if it shows up there. Bye, everybody. Have a great one.